Your dog probably isn't just clingy or even spoiled, and it definitely isn't confused about where it's supposed to sleep. When your dog climbs into your bed tonight, finds its spot, turns in a circle, and settles down against your legs like second nature, they're completing a behaviour loop that has been running for at least 15,000 years. Long before agriculture, civilization, or even the concept of a bedroom existed. This isn't a habit your dog picked up, it's an inheritance. And understanding where it comes from changes how you see that dog completely for the better. To understand why dogs sleep with us, we have to go back to wolves. And wolves don't sleep randomly. In a wild wolf family, sleeping positions carry significant meaning. The breeding pair occupy the most sheltered, central positions as the primary caregivers. Younger and lower-ranking members sleep at the edges, the first to encounter anything approaching in the dark. They're not there because they lost a competition. They're there because that's how a pack survives. The perimeter is the early warning system at night. Now imagine the first time a proto-dog spent the night near a human campfire rather than fleeing from it immediately. Not a dramatic moment, but a gradual process, over generations, of bolder animals tolerating human proximity, drawn in by warmth and food scraps. At night, those animals took up the position they knew, the perimeter, watching the darkness, alert to sound. The humans gained a living alarm system they hadn't asked for. The proto-dogs gained heat and food. Neither side signed a contract. It just worked. Sleep, from the very beginning, wasn't about affection. It was a social transaction, improving the survivability for both dogs and humans. What's remarkable is that this arrangement didn't just happen once, in one place. It happened everywhere humans and dogs shared territory across the world. In Indigenous Australian culture, sleeping with dogs on cold nights was a practical necessity. The phrase, three-dog night, describing a night so cold you needed three dogs against you for warmth, comes from this tradition. A single adult dog produces roughly the same heat as a 100-watt bulb. On a freezing night on the Australian interior, the Alaskan tundra, or the Siberian steppe, that warmth wasn't comfort. It was survival by any means necessary. Archaeological records confirm the same story across continents. The oldest confirmed human-dog co-burial found in Germany dates back over 14,000 years. By that point, the relationship had already moved beyond utility. The dog in that grave was buried with intention. Somebody loved that animal deeply, not seen as a food source or utility purely. Co-sleeping between species wasn't strange. For most of human history, it was simply the arrangement that made sense. Here is where the story takes a turn nobody could have predicted. Because at some point during domestication, something biological happened between dogs and humans that has no real parallel anywhere else in the animal kingdom. Dogs developed the ability to hold eye contact with us. This sounds trivial. It isn't. Sustained eye contact in wolves is a dominance challenge. It signals threat, not trust. Wild wolves, even hand-raised ones, resist prolonged mutual gaze with humans. Dogs actively seek it out. And the reason that difference matters comes down to oxytocin. Research published in the journal Science by Miho Nagasawa and colleagues at Azabu University demonstrated that when dogs and their owners engage in mutual gazing, both species show a measurable rise in oxytocin. In pairs where the dog gazed longest, owners showed the greatest increase, and so did the dogs. The same test with hand-raised wolves and their handlers produced no comparable response. It appears to be something dogs specifically acquired during domestication, a biological rewiring with no equivalent in their wild ancestors. Oxytocin is the bonding hormone, released between mothers and newborns, underpinning attachment and the feeling of safety in another's presence. The dynamic functions as a self-reinforcing loop. Gaze increases oxytocin deepens the bond encourages more gaze. The science is still developing and some follow-up studies have produced mixed results. But the core finding that dogs and humans share a physiological attachment response unlike anything between wolves and people, has held up to serious scrutiny on science and our own experiences. When your dog lies against you at night, that closeness brings low-level oxytocin in both of you through the hours of darkness. Your nervous system is responding to that animal the same way it responds to a trusted person. That isn't poetic license, but chemistry instead. For decades, the conventional wisdom, from sleep specialists and dog trainers alike, was that dogs in the bedroom disrupted sleep and should be kept out, but not so fast. A study from the Mayo Clinic tested this properly. 40 healthy adults and their dogs wore accelerometers for 7 consecutive nights. Having a dog in the bedroom, but not in the bed itself, was associated with healthy sleep efficiency, averaging around 83%. Where disruption crept in was when the dog shared the mattress directly, shifting through the night. What's striking is that across multiple studies, people consistently self-reported sleeping better with their dogs nearby, even when objective data shows mild disruption. The sense of security registers as rest even when the body tells a more complicated story. That gap is telling. The feeling of safety a dog provides at night is ancient and overrides any mild disruption your dog may bring. It runs deeper than any fitness tracker can reach, as it's an evolutionary bond. Not all dogs sleep the same way, and the variation maps almost directly onto their history. Breeds genetically closest to wolves, the Shiba Inu, Basenji, Chow Chow, Huskies, tend to sleep near their owners, rather than pressed against them. A degree of autonomy, a slight spatial distance, remains. Ancient livestock guardian breeds often position themselves by the door, echoing that perimeter function with striking precision. Scent hounds pile together, recreating the warmth cluster of a pack. Herding breeds sleep lightly, repositioning frequently, one ear always open. And toy breeds, purpose-built over centuries for nothing but human companionship, press themselves as close as physically possible. The desire for co-sleeping isn't universal. In its intensity, it's a product of selective breeding. The dog trying to get under your duvet is largely descended from animals chosen, generation after generation, for maximum human attachment. The behaviour you're indulging tonight is the behaviour somebody bred for thousands of years ago, manifested into a domesticated dog's body since. There's a strange modern discomfort around dogs sleeping with people. Training books warn against it. People feel they need to justify it. And that discomfort is historically very recent, largely a product of the 19th century, when the rise of the domestic household and its emphasis on hygiene and order began pushing animals out of the shared sleeping space. Research by Cambridge historian Dr. Philip Howell has shown it was the Victorians who fundamentally reshaped social norms around pets, creating for the first time a cultural expectation that home life should be categorically arranged. The dog was assigned its own place. And yet here we are. Surveys consistently find that somewhere between half and 2/3 of dog owners sleep with their dogs in the room, if not in the bed. We bought the crates, we read the books, we drew the boundaries, and then, in the dark, we let them back up anyway. The dog at the foot of your bed isn't a sign of a poorly trained animal or a soft owner. It's a 15,000-year-old arrangement, quietly reasserting itself every single night. The fire has changed, the danger outside has changed, but the instinct on both sides has not. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe and suggest any ideas for future videos on your favorite dogs. See you soon!